Greetings, folks. Just an intro to a video for you now. Before Christmas, my wargaming friend and fellow club member Don McHugh brought a large pile of those plastic ready useful boxes, some of which you can see up on the cupboard, top of the cupboard behind me, full of 28mm ancient and medieval wargames figures to the games bunker. Now, the models themselves all belonged to the collection of Steve Hacker, who was a well-known wargamer active on the UK ancient competition circuit, who sadly passed away in September 2020. Now, Don has been working with Steve's family for some time to arrange the sale of Steve's wargames collection for charity. And so far, Don has very admirably managed to raise over £10,000 for charities such as Diabetes UK, the British Heart Foundation, Dementia UK, Macmillan and Breast Cancer UK. Now, myself and my fellow club members were invited to peruse this collection of 28mm bits and pieces that Don brought into the club, as ancients and medieval gaming is quite popular at our club through Hail Caesar and most recently as well to the Strongest. And there were small amounts of early Imperial Romans and some Fireforge Games medievals that I brought to integrate into my own collections, existing collections of those. But what really caught my eye, although there'll be more on those other models soon in videos on this channel, but so what really caught my eye was some really nicely painted Greek Hoplites. The painting was of varying quality, but it was all pretty decent, and some was actually particularly good. Mixed manufacturers, some Foundry, some other bits and bobs, some Essex. But yeah, they were all great. Now, I started a Greek army last year, but the project stalled in the face of painting commitments and gaming commitments for games I was actually playing and needed to get painted models ready for last year. But now, with these beautifully painted models at my potential disposal, I had no excuse and a good cause. So I brought some of these ancient Greek Hoplites from Don, and the plan was, I should say, to make them Hail Caesar playable by rebasing them, blood them in battle, but leaving the painting as is, as a sort of nod and deference to their previous owner, and then gradually work through repainting or touching them up. So let's have a look at how I've done. Okay, so as mentioned in the intro, apologies for the noise in the background, by the way, there's members of my family watching TV in the next room. But as mentioned in the intro, these are Greek Hoplites from a variety of manufacturers, previously part of the collection of a gentleman by the name of Steve Hacker, who sadly passed away in September 2020. And what I'm doing is rebasing them for Hail Caesar, but they are on 2x2s on 40mm bases like that. Both of these two boxes you can see here were full of these, in strips of 4 like that. And I've made quite a few inroads, as you can see already, onto these, basing it on 4x4s, as you can see by this lot here. So yes, that's what this project's all about. Rebasing them for Hail Caesar, them having all previously been on these strip bases like this. So stay tuned and you'll see how I've been getting on. Well, whilst I'm giving you this video about rebasing these Greek Hoplites that I've gotten recently, just to quick show you how I'm actually doing the rebasing rather than just saying I'm doing it. So to start with, they're being put on 2x2 on 40mm square bases, and then the edges of the bases have been painted with Steel Legion Drab from Games Workshop, and then after that I'll dip it in some basing material. I'll show you that in a second. And there we have the ground texture added to these 3 units of Spartan Hoplites. All that's left now is to add some tufts and grass and stuff with the aid of my trusty super glue, and that's next. And in a flurry of glue and tufts a short while later, here we are. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. It's a pretty straightforward process. To just recap, on bases 2x2 on 40mm square bases, paint the edges of the bases with Steel Legion Drab from Games Workshop, glue some basing texture onto the bases, and then once that's dry, glue some static grass and some flock. And that's what I've done with the late great Steve Hacker's Greek Hoplites. And with those 3 units of Spartan Hoplites rebased, that is quite a chunk of the late great Steve Hacker's Greek Hoplite collection rebased. There is still 2/3 as many as you see here, still in their old type of basing in a box. I will perhaps use them, but not necessarily in this army. The only thing I plan to add to this is 1 more unit of Hoplites, another unit of Spartans, 2, possibly 3 units of skirmishers that I have some bare metal models from Foundry for, and 1, possibly 2 units, small units that is, of cavalry. The whole object of this is to be an early Greek Hoplite army. But the rest, like I say, I've got another 2/3 as many as this still in their boxes. I will rebase to the strongest rules, a game that I've recently started playing and I've had a lot of fun with. But here we go. Now, what you'll see here is pretty much as they were painted by Steve Hacker before I acquired them. All I've done is just rebase them for Hell Caesar to make them playable for that game that I play at my club. I wanted to do that not just because I'm a lazy bastard and wanted to get some models on the table and playable, but simply because as I wanted a nod of deference towards their former owner and blood them in battle at least once or twice before I then start taking a paintbrush to them myself. And when I say that, I'm not going to be wholesale stripping and repainting. What I'm going to be doing is perhaps just, where it's needed, touching up paintwork, adding some shading and some highlights, neatening up edges between 2 different areas of colour. For example, let's take one of these here. On the helmet plumes, where, you know, perhaps helmet and plume meet, there's a bit of a blurring of colour. What I'll do is gradually work my way through each unit, doing that tarting up, and present my what I've done when I've finished. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'll bring you some more details about this project soon.